welcome to another broadcast. I'm so happy that you're here. I am your favorite mermaid mystic, and today's video is going to be all about diving into what karma really is. And I thought that this would be an extraordinary video because I think that there's so many misrepresentations of what karma is. So my basis is going off of a particular thing that Neville Goddard wrote in his book called Prayer, the Answer of Receiving. That's his particular book. He goes into extreme detail on that. And also he speaks about scripture when it talks about you reap what you sow. And as we know, Neville also did not believe that the Bible was an actual, it was a metaphoric, it was not actual events, historical events. If you can decipher that, you would be well on your way to recognizing how much you are the God of your reality. The kittens are playing in the background. It's in the late evening. I went to the beach today, the seaside today, and the wind was so rough that, obviously being on the water like that I could not record because you could not hear the audio on it. And I don't have a microphone or anything that I could bring along with me. So I'm shooting this in the cottage at late at night. And but anyway, what I wanted to do was share a particular paragraph with you, and then I will go into detail and give you a bit of an example about how karma works. And so I think what better way to do that than to use my own personal life and personal experience, right? So you can always understand something much more when it's done graphically and explained to a fine detail. Is that not right? All right, so what I'm going to do is I have to go off camera for a moment. So if you can just listen to me, because I only have kerosene lamps going in here, and so I can't see very well. I probably should have prepared that more, but I want to share this with you, okay? So maybe I'll put, the kittens or wind or something, playing in the background whilst you listen to me, okay? It says, if your fixed idea is not subjectively accepted by the one toward whom it is directed, it rebounds to you from who it came. Who is he that will harm you if ye be followers of that which is good? I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. There shall be no evil happen to the just. Nothing befalls us that is not of nature of ourselves. A person who directs a malicious thought to another will be injured by its rebound if he fails to get subconscious acceptance of the other. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Furthermore, what you can wish and believe of another can be wished and believed of you. And you have no power to reject it if the one who desires it for you accepts it as true of you. The only power to reject a subjective word is to be incapable of wishing a similar state of another. To give presupposes the ability to receive. The possibility to impress an idea upon another mind presupposes the ability of that mind to receive that impression. So what, my loves, what that means is, say for example, this is a very broad example, okay? And then I'm going to give you an example of my personal life. Now, you might not agree with me. That's perfectly acceptable. You are, entitled to your opinion. But according to Neville, the what that is explaining, karma, is that first of all, we must recognize, number one, is that we are the God of our reality. So nothing can trespass our mind or thoughts without us giving the okay, whether we thought that or accepted it from another person telepathically through them thinking that onto us. So for example, if I, being the person that I am, right, and I have pure intent, say for example, there is someone that does not like me, right? Everyone knows everyone has enemies, right? Especially if you're an empathic person or you're chosen or whatnot, you're going to have people that don't like you. So let's pretend, we're pretending, quote unquote, that someone does not like me, okay? And they wish me to get ill, physically ill. For example, like I wish Raquel would die of cancer, okay? So let's just say we're giving, I mean, that's a terrible, terrible thing, okay? But let's just pretend that someone in their mind, in their thoughts, were wishing illness and sickness upon me. Say, for example, that was the case. And then you have Raquel, Razzy, that knows that I have pure intentions and a pure heart, and not in this lifetime or another ever wish someone to die or to be ill or to be sick, okay? So what happens is, if someone, because that's not in my nature, that's just absolutely not in my nature, the person that wishes that cancer upon me or illness or sickness will have to receive that karma tenfold onto themselves as it rebounds. So they would attract cancer, they would attract sickness and illness. What you sow is what you reap, means that you have to receive that back. So it's not just like, oh, the cancer. What will happen is it will be extraordinarily 10 times worse or 1 billion times worse on that person if the person, like myself, did not receive that, because it's not within my mind to receive that. I'll give you a perfect example. This is actually me being quite vulnerable with you, okay? When I was having a really difficult time with the Instagram, and I know that you, dear Mermaid Hearts, have listened to me and know about all of my stuff. If you've read my blog and stuff like that, you've understood that I really, really had a difficult time with women on Instagram, and it was difficulties that I had. Well, in my heat of anger and being upset because I was being bullied at that time, I manifested that this particular person would literally lose her Instagram account, that she would get banned, that it would be deleted by accident because of what she had done to me. Now, because she had that thought in her mind, her Instagram account was deleted. Now, this is an actual thing. This is what me explaining to you how karma works, okay? What would happen if because see, she had that thought, so I could penetrate, I could go into her mind, in a sense, using my telepathic mind, my goddess ability. This is why you have to be very, very careful, my loves, when you are demonstrating that, because you can do literal harm to someone. It's not hardened, you can't penetrate them. Say, for example, someone was, like I said, someone tried to wish cancer upon me or sickness or illness. Well, I would never wish that upon anyone, ever, ever. It's not even in my realm of thinking. So if someone tried to do that to me and tried to cause me illness or sickness, it's going to they will have to attract that. It will rebound to them, and they will probably pass away or something, because it will be so excruciatingly horrific. Here's another example. Someone's on Instagram or social media. Now, you have to take this into regards that loads of people are not going to want to hear what I'm telling them, because I'm telling you how the law, it is a universal law. It's not mine. It's like gravity, okay? It's not my law. It is a universal law, and this is how it works. Tell me, oh, I don't believe you, and that's perfectly fine. You can tell me all day long you don't agree with me, but it's still a law. You can't break it, okay? So for example, the celebrity that was really coming under the heat a couple of years ago, come to find out she was literally bullying online, and she was telling young girls to literally themselves and that they were horrible and horrific and they did not deserve to be alive and they should be 6 foot under, and horrific tweets, okay? Before it was X, okay, on Twitter. Well, this came out several years later, and I'm going to explain to you this is how karma works. And you don't have to agree with me. Remember, when you do things, that there is a consequence to everything that you do. Well, what happened was this girl, this woman got pregnant, okay? And she had a child and it was stillborn. It died at birth. Now, you can say, oh, that is horrible, Raquel. How could you dare say that that's what happened? Because the person that didn't wish that upon her, she came out in the news and she did a huge article on it, talking about how much she was bullied and it was a horrifying event, and that she would never wish that on her worst enemy. And so what happened was it had to rebound on that person that sent it out. And the person that had sent that out, no one knew about what this girl was thinking. That's what I'm saying, is like, you can say, well, why does this particular person or this celebrity get so much hate comments or so much vitriol on the internet? Have you ever wondered that maybe just because you don't see it, that maybe she has thoughts like that? Because you have to receive the karmic debt if what you're sending out is not received by other people. And the internet is a very big thing. So what I'm telling you is, be very, very careful what you do, especially in your thoughts. You think that no one knows what you're thinking, but it's demonstrated in reality, in your 3D reality. It will demonstrate itself. It has to. It is law, my darlings. Now, like I said, I'm going to be very, very vulnerable with you right now. This is another example of karma, okay? When my son, my middle son, Sawyer, was brutally murdered, okay? Now, I know my Sawyer, my little Saw, because that's what I used to call him, and I knew that he would always tease out, when he would play video games and all of that, he would always tease out and say, oh, if I ever die, I totally want to go out like a gangster, is what he used to call it. He used to say, oh, I want to go out I want to be killed and shot like as a gangster. Okay. Now, no one might know that about my son Sawyer. So let's go back to, now this is obviously before I knew anything about how karma worked, okay? I never believed in that sort of thing. Well, it was probably about 8 years before he passed, okay? We got in a really, really bad way. And so we had a large argument. He had this gal that he was dating at the time, and she was just absolutely mad. And so she was very, very violent, okay? And so they would have arguments in our driveway. She would drive over and they would just start battling it out. I got upset because I had to call, police. And I just said, this is absolutely, and I was very, very angry at the time, okay? And I said, this is absolutely maddening. This is absolutely embarrassing. You are embarrassing the entire family. And I told her, had her leave and all of that. And in that heat of massive, massive anger, I said to my son, but I was screaming at him. I said, if you're not careful, a woman is going to be the death of you. You are going to be 6 foot under if you're not careful with dating these kind of women. Now, listen, my son died. He was shot through into his own home. He was playing video games at the time when he was murdered. He was literally playing I think it was, what is it called? GameCube or something. And he was shot 3 times in the back, through his window. And you might think that sounds absolutely ludicrous. Like, how could you dare think that your son? But I know how my son was. And he had always, yes, he teased about it. He loved carrying guns. He loved having guns. He loved that whole, kind of living on the edge. He was he was a black sheep of the family, and the most darling, charming son ever born, you know. I mean, me and him were just thick as thieves. I mean, we were so close. And I know that he was that kind of person, and he would tease and be jovial about it all the time, like, Mommy. Although that was years before he ever passed, but he would always walk around, talk, you know, like a British person. You wish something on someone and they have no mindset, or they could not fathom being that way, right? It has to rebound onto you. And so I want you to understand this. And I also want you to really be diligent in what your thoughts are. And that's why Neville Goddard always talks about having a mental diet, having a lovely mental diet, because if you don't, this is how the things that happen to us occur. You can realize that you are the God of your reality, that you have control over everything that happens to you. Nothing can happen to you without, just like Neville said, nothing can happen to you without your permission. So remember that, my darlings. I hope that you derive some benefit from this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. That would be lovely too, if you so choose. And as always, I'm most affably yours till my next swim. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.